This conference will now be recorded.
Unless everybody's online, there is Elton missing, as far as I can see.
Yes.
Elton, are you here? Okay, let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes more.
Okay.
The connection is not so good. Yeah, okay. That's okay.
Okay, now it's okay. Elona, we can hear you.
Yeah. It's okay now.
Okay, Elton is here, so we can start. Yeah. Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, hello everybody. Yes, Claudiana. Okay, hello everybody. Today we are I want to thank first of all everyone that participated in these 2 days of very extensive activities that are in the framework of the successfully completion of our Jean Monnet Module, Resilience and European Integration of the Western Balkans. So at the end of the project, I'm very happy now to discuss with colleagues from other universities as well from the Erasmus Plus office in Albania or in the University of Tirana about the future collaboration that we can have in the framework of Erasmus Plus. So first of all, I want to thank Claudiana Beshko that made it possible, this project, and all the team of colleagues and in the university, in the Erasmus office, as well as the department. I want to start with welcoming remarks from Ms. Elona Saraci, that is one of our biggest supporters in drafting the projects. And I want to thank her for all her support. And I'm inviting her to make the remarks, her greetings from the Erasmus Plus office at the University of Tirana. Please, Elona.
Okay, may I start?
Yes.
Thank you for giving me the floor. Dear guests, dear participants, hello. Let me first present myself. My name is Elona Saraci, and I am the Deputy Coordinator of the Albanian Erasmus Plus office. I would like to greet and wish you all a smooth transition back into a normal life after the difficult periods of quarantine. On behalf of the Albanian Erasmus Plus office, I would like to thank the organizers of this event for the invitation, University of Tirana, and especially Mrs. Claudiana Beshku, Jean Monnet Module grant holder. It's my pleasure to be virtually among you today and to greet this roundtable, which will tackle important issues mainly related to regional cooperation within the framework of Erasmus Plus program. A special greeting goes to the distinguished collaborator, Professor Franz Kok, with whom we have worked with for many years, and hopefully our cooperation will continue further on. Regional cooperation is one of the key objectives and aspects of the Erasmus Plus program. Therefore, the main regional event of last year organized by our office assisted by DG EAC of European Commission and EAKA agency in Brussels, was dedicated to the impact of capacity building project in the Western Balkan region. Since the discussion of this roundtable will be mostly focused on regional cooperation, I'll take the opportunity to share with you some conclusions of the last year regional meeting. In the Western Balkan context, regional cooperation has been traditionally perceived as less attractive than cooperation with EU higher education institutions. Participants suggested working towards the creation of Western Balkan higher education area, which would facilitate, among other things, mobility of staff and students or the development of joint degrees. According to participants, further efforts should be made concerning project sustainability in order to foster and sustain regional cooperation. Participants pointed out that the implementation of regional initiatives presents significant challenges that render national capacity building projects to become more attractive. Joint degree projects constitute a case in point, since there is no automatic degree recognition practiced in the Western Balkans. Thus, I invite all of you to take into consideration these conclusions, and the exchanging ideas or discussion of this roundtable will be oriented in the same line, fostering the regional cooperation within Erasmus program. The integration of our country in Europe is one of the main political issues nowadays. So you should take the opportunity of being promoters of this process relating to higher education field through building new networks in the region and wider, aiming to develop Erasmus project on this regard, which will facilitate the process. Our office will assist you whenever needed and will continue to present opportunities that Erasmus program offers, both for higher education institutions and individuals involved in the higher education. In closure, I wish you a nice working day with many useful ideas, results, and new partnerships in the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elona, for your will to assist us and for the information about the regional cooperation and the framework of Erasmus+. Now, I'm very happy to announce Mr. Elton Skendaj. He is the head of international relations at the University of Tirana, and he will make a presentation about the EU-funded projects of the University of Tirana. Mr. Skendaj, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nysjola. Hi, everybody. Hi, Claudiana. Hi, Elona. Hello, Franz. It's more than a year we haven't met. Hello, everybody. Maya, I see the names. Madalena, Durata, Elona. Well, good morning. I'm in the office at University of Tirana, and work here continues as normal. Even though we face this difficulty of pandemic, we never stop work. And when it comes to international cooperation, I'm trying to be brief and concise. I'm not going to have like a PowerPoint presentation. I told this to Claudiana. I think it's better, so no need to have a PowerPoint presentation. I just want to put the stress on several points. First of all, one is regional cooperation, which Elona mentioned in her speech, and the existing situation. I'm not going to focus on providing figures and statistics for the moment about international projects. Well, with regional cooperation, University of Tirana, being the largest and the oldest public university in Albania, we cooperate with many universities in the region. Of course, there is this bilateral cooperation agreements, which, to be honest, I'm not happy with them, because universities sign bilateral agreements, but then they don't do anything. But cooperation under the Erasmus Plus framework program with the region, it's still not very satisfactory. We're trying to evolve, we're trying to develop, we're trying to create new partnerships, because we have more cooperation with countries that are far from Albania, for example, with Poland, with Latvia, with Spain, with Portugal, Germany, of course, but when it comes to the region, it needs a total improvement. We need to improve the ways to cooperate. But to provide you some statistics, for example, we have like 4 or 5 cooperations with Slovenian universities. We are involved with them not only in Key Action 1 for mobilities, but also Key Action 2 for capacity building projects. The same is with Croatia in the region. And these are the 2 countries we have the most of the cooperation. Last year, we started cooperating with Greek universities, and we signed 5 new agreements with 5 Greek universities, because in the past, the cooperation with them was very slow. And with North Macedonia, which is a program country, and Serbia, which became a program country recently, the cooperation is, let's say, nearly to 0. So we don't have exchanges. I'm trying to get in touch with my colleagues at the University of Belgrade. I don't know whether you can see me. Something happened to my screen. Is it okay, Nysjola? You can hear me.
It's okay, Elton. Go on, please.
And I'm trying to get in touch with colleagues from University of Belgrade, University of Niš, and University of Novi Sad, which I'm trying to have some agreements with them for the mobility of staff and students. I told to my colleagues at University of Belgrade not long ago that we need to have an agreement, effective one, which can be easily implemented in order to invite professors from University of Belgrade to come to Tirana, and of course professors and students from University of Tirana to go to Belgrade. I'm not discussing about the cooperation with Italy, because that is the country we have most of cooperations. We have 28 partner universities in Italy. Well, that is for the part when it comes to regional cooperation. This is the situation right now. I'm trying, and I'm sure that within this year we'll start to have the first agreements implemented with universities in North Macedonia and in Serbia, because they are program countries. Serbia, I think, became, if I'm not wrong, last year became a program country. And when it comes to cooperation or cooperations of University of Tirana at a larger panorama, a larger scale, I'd like to say that for the moment, facing the crisis of pandemics in Europe, but not also in the world as well, we have started a process of communication with every single partner university. For the moment, we have 72 students from University of Tirana who are on mobility across universities in Europe. First of all, we made sure that they are safe, they are fine, and we are now trying and assisting the process of them returning to the home universities. Why we have started negotiating with every single partner. We want to make sure, because nobody knows for sure what's going to happen with the pandemics, though I'm personally confident that it will be over by the end of July or the start of August. This situation will come to an end, and hopefully we'll get back to normal. We're trying to have like specific issues discussed with every single partner, because the situation changes from one country to another. We are trying to make sure that they all continue, they all there is no stop, so we don't surrender. For the moment, we have opened several calls, and they are for next year, for the second semester, summer semester of the 2021 academic year. We're trying to do that, and there is a high interest. Surprisingly, even though there's this situation, there's a high interest from our students to go on a mobility, Erasmus mobility. Well, that is one component, because we also are focused on capacity building projects. For example, 2 days ago, I got a positive news. We won a project from Creative Europe Transmission Project, which is a new project that will be added to the University of Tirana. And the staff for the moment is also involved in writing new projects. We have submitted several projects to the Commission for funding. We I really hope they will get the green light and will be funded by the Commission. And the most interesting one is, I cannot mention this, cannot stay without mentioning. We have a project on behavior, social and economic impacts of the outbreak response. This is a project that was submitted recently, and we really hope that we'll get the green light for this project. Currently, we have some 14 capacity building projects that are being implemented at University of Tirana. 5 are Horizon 2020 projects that are implemented by the Faculty of Law here at University, and more than 100 Key Action 1 interinstitutional agreements. If you want, I can provide, I don't want to take much time, but to provide you some statistics and figures. Last year, for example, we had 129 students on an exchange and 198 staff, academic staff and administrative staff involved as well, who were on a mobility from the Erasmus Plus program. As you can see, the number of staff is higher than the number of students. That came because of some interruption that we had last year. There were some student protests, and that put the interest somehow down during that period when we expected it was the peak for us for the applications. The students, the applications were low in number. But this year we are back, and we think that the interest is growing, and for this year we had like 145, 150 student mobility, so we're going up. Normally, when it comes to international cooperation, there is a lot of space to explore, there is a lot of things to be done, and we really think that at University of Tirana that we can do it. We are expanding slowly because of some limited capacities here in our offices due to the shortage of staff and other issues, but we are trying to regulate them and improve. So I'll be here with you, I'll be following you all day, and I'll follow all the discussions, and if I will be able to provide you some answer on every single question you might have on Erasmus Plus program, Jean Monnet, and everything. So that's it for me for the moment. And I hope the pandemic is over and I can invite you at the Rectorate in University of Tirana someday, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elton, for the presentation about the Erasmus Plus projects and for the effort of your office to strengthen the collaboration with the university in the region. Fortunately, we have a representative from North Macedonia and from Belgrade in our panel. So if you agree, I can give your email to them and they can contact you if they have any interest to make this collaboration possible. So thank you very much for your input. I am very happy now to announce Professor Franz Kok. Without him, our joint master in political science, integration and governance would not be possible. And practically he created this network of Western Balkans lecturers or scholars in the political science field. So he can give us some of his expertise about the possibility to have a future collaboration and to use this network created by him in this framework. Please, Professor Kok, the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for this friendly invitation and introduction. Although I have to clarify that I'm not professor at our university, I'm project manager and even a senior lecturer, let's say, in political science. Of course, I know many of the faces I meet now on the screen here from several projects before. I don't know exactly about the mailing list on the invitation mail I received. I answered to all the recipients, including some details about what our political science capacity building project we did on the development of a joint master program has delivered towards European integration topics, which might be in a certain focus of any further Jean Monnet project development. So the organizers of this conference, please feel free to forward this resource also to other institutions and partners connected to this initiative to establish a Jean Monnet network. Some contents or some ideas from my side now. I want to be short. Of course, when I'm looking to the participants lists, you know, I see that there's much more the space. There should be much more space for the ladies to speak, and not only for the two men participating, as far as I see from the list. Thank you. Yes. What are there some suggestions? The first thing is, of course, applying for a Jean Monnet network means that the network should have a certain reference point, joint reference point for academic work, research, and teaching, and maybe this joint basis could be elaborated out of the existing agreed arguments about the Erasmus Mundus project. We have the Erasmus Plus project we have developed about the curriculum, and the module we have described there for regarding European integration. So use this resource and use also the courses we have accredited around this module. You know, I submitted also the course contents, course descriptions. But of course, there might come up some also additional ideas and new contents with high relevance for such a Jean Monnet network. I thought about how to explain and how to bring to the point the suggestions I could deliver to that vision or to that idea. And I came to two advices I sometimes give also to our master students working here now on the development of their master theses in political science. And these advices are pointed out in two arguments. You know, the first argument is go comparative, go international, meaning develop a profile showing that the added value of the initiative is coming from comparing situations in different countries. And going international, of course, has to be defined in a certain way. You know, in the actual situation of the Western Balkans, going international could also mean go regional. And this regional cooperation, as Elton has mentioned before, obviously is still one of the weak points in the geographic space of the Western Balkan, let's say. And I thought about new instruments to be integrated in that as well. Elona, maybe Elona can tell us a little bit more about the progress of the idea to give also European grants for staff and student mobility between partner countries. This was an idea of the development of for the development of Key Action 107, but I confess I'm not sure about the status of that. We are in collaboration with University of Belgrade as well, staff mobility, with student mobility. My observation and my experience with University of Skopje, but also University of Belgrade regarding this new status as program country university is that it obviously needs some time to establish the new identity and role and to come into a routine about the instruments connected to that new role in the European Erasmus world, let's say. So I think this might still take some time to develop a strategy, but also to develop the practical routines for the management of the new role. It is a really big step, you know, very often connected with disadvantages. So several resources available for university partners in collaborations in partner countries are no longer available for universities which become members as in the world of the Erasmus world as as program countries. Program country university get much less support in a number of activities than partner country universities. So you should have this in mind. The second advice I give to students, and I also would give to the network in the profiling of a Jean Monnet network, is go policy. Do not continue the specialization on the symbolic level of politics or the only institutional level. Go to policies, and of course, looking to the faces in that network, I would say gender policy could be one of the topics, but it could be social policy or welfare state policy developments as well. When I think back to the resources we have in our network, I remember that there are several very interesting resources in these policy fields in Tirana, for example. So go to policy fields. Infrastructure. We see. Unfortunately, I could not participate in the meeting yesterday, but when I'm looking to the way how international investments on the Western Balkans designed at the moment, so therefore, of course, it's obvious that there's a strong presence of external stakeholder and investors, and one should have more focus on this strategic resource, in my opinion. So different ways to define policies and to identify policies for profiling such a Jean Monnet network. It's about gender policy, as I mentioned before. I can report that at the University of Salzburg, we just installed a new professor for gender studies. It's Zoe Levkofridi. Some of you might know from previous collaborations. And together with her, we established from the next year on a standard course for all incoming Erasmus students on multicultural gender policy issues. Yeah, so there's a new let's say a new position made, which is interested in an offensive strategy to include partner universities also in that research and in that teaching field. Go comparative, go policy. These were the two advices, and there might be two additional contributions I could give to such initiative. And the one contribution is to connect to a multilateral stakeholder in the region. I was very surprised in the preparation of our Erasmus Mundus application from this year, which is hopefully positively evaluated in that days, and I hope that we get a positive decision from Brussels in July about that. But around this project development, I was really surprised about the open arms and the open doors I found at multilateral institutions like the Regional Cooperation Center in Sarajevo. There's a real strong interest in including academic stakeholder and ideas and idea-giving capacities to that network, RCC. When I was looking to the region, I saw there most of all the countries and more beyond members of the Central European Initiative, And also, Central European Initiative was in my contact with them. They were, in some way, let's say, hungry to learn a little bit more about in which way the creativity of universities could be used to enforce their policies, to give new ideas to their development. So, just two ideas. There might be, of course, several other very important and very good ideas. And you can bring in. There's a second idea for contributions we might give. The one thing is, of course, to focus on this regional cooperation aspect of internationality at the Western Balkans, because this is really a strong thing. Seen from European perspective, the differences in the pride of being a nation now is in some way not confirmed with view to the region. the view to the region is defined by a view to the region and not to the singularities of small countries, you know. Also, the development of political instruments and European integration, I think, is more and more focusing on that regional character. And therefore, of course, it would be fine to have countries as Croatia or Serbia as big players, one of them already as members, with taking over responsibility for such regional integration or reintegration approaches. Of course, the network, higher education, can be a good example how to prove that and how to perform that. But it might be also interesting to see that some other regions in the neighborhood are not in the same, but in some way comparable situations. As you know, I'm also very strongly involved in activities in the Southern Caucasus, Black Sea region. So to include these academic networks existing or already existing might be a way to show that what the success of capacity building of progress of the last years in the Western Balkan build up can be used also as a resource to support others, you know. So to show this empathy might be interesting. I'm thinking about the situation in Central Asia. There are several countries with a different political development still, but a high potential of the interest of academic stakeholders to be involved, to be connected, you know. So in that sense, Jean Monnet network for the Western Balkan could show that you understood the European message of strengthening the bridges, not only to Brussels, to Vienna, to Salzburg, to Berlin, but of having a stronger focus to the neighborhood, and having also the empathy to see how other countries in transformation, which not similar but in some way comparable developments, might learn from your experience. So that's it from my side. I think we're going to have a further discussion, but I want to express my happy face for a good deal comes from meeting here also Maddalena Cominicini. Maybe some of you already remember her. She once was working at University of Salzburg. Maddalena, hello, welcome. But she's going to continue as kind of academic or attaché at the Austrian embassy in Tirana now. But maybe you find we find a minute to give Maddalena the opportunity to say what her plans are and in which way she could contribute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Franz, for your ideas for future collaboration. I don't know if Elona wants to add something about what you asked for our Erasmus Plus office, or?
Yeah, just to add something. Professor Franz, for the moment, we do not have any statistics about the fund for ICMs or capacity building Jean Monnet activities. We are still waiting to know the future of Erasmus Plus program during the phase 2021 up to 2026. So as soon as we will have any good news for this, we'll make news. Let's hope we'll keep you known and we'll share with our higher education institution and our all stakeholders. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Elona. Someone else has to add something? Okay, first I want to say to all the participants, all our students or other persons that are interested and they can make any answer to our sessions, to our common session. And now we can continue with the presentation of Vilma Becha, that is an Erasmus Plus student, postdoc student now in Salzburg. She will give us the perspective or what the students expect from this kind of projects. Please, Vilma, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much, Professor Nysjola. Actually, I would like to start by saying that I'm very honored to be part of this panel, and I would like to thank Professor Claudiana Beșcu, because I am among very distinguished professors and among very important actors regarding to Erasmus programs in Albania, in the region, but in Europe as well. So as Professor Nysjola mentioned, I am a postseeker, which means I am one of the postseek students. And I know that it is not so typical to be personal in such kind of panels, but it's a bit challenging to talk after Professor Kok because he already mentioned a lot of technical things. So I do not want to repeat him. I'll try not to repeat him. Yes, postseek once, postseek forever. And I would like actually to respect the other students that are attending this meeting and to try to share my own personal experience, because I think that all the panelists here are pretty much knowledgeable on the benefits that Erasmus can bring, even though there is always room for improvement. So the question I am expected to address today is that what are the impacts that these regional programs like postseek might have in the Balkans? I'd like to answer this question by bringing two perspectives. Firstly, I'd like to say that the way I see it is that one way of integrating to each other with other students in the Western Balkans is that coming together, which means that in the postseek program this was possible because I know that there are a lot of other programs and a lot of other projects in the region that brings the students together, but in Salzburg, we have to meet every day with each other. So we had to talk, we had to discuss, we had to share our ideas. So this was a very good way to come together and to discuss and to know each other and to know each other's identity. However, I expected of knowing each other identity, because initially I expected to do one of my semesters in one of the Western Balkan countries, not back in Albania, and maybe this is a future recommendation for the Erasmus funding project, because I do understand that it is a personal choice that students are coming back to their origin countries to follow their second year, but sometimes there is a pragmatic choice because they cannot afford studying in another country. So maybe this could be a future recommendation for the postseek. Secondly, how I see that the students can benefit from these regional programs is that actually we had the opportunity to import very good practices and some European values while we were in Salzburg. By this I mean that best practices, one of the things I think that Salzburg University is proud of is that they have a very strong approach regarding to research, to methodology. So this is lacking in some of our countries in the Balkan region, especially in Albania. And I think that importing this kind of approach back to our countries, actually it is something that we have benefited from. Another thing is the European values. What happened in the University of Salzburg is that my classmates were not only students from the Western Balkans. Actually, I had other fellow mates from Europe and from all over the world. So they could bring their perspectives, their best practices, the things that they were proud of back to their home countries and back to their universities. So in this sense, I think that there were a lot of interaction and there were a lot to benefit from for us as students from the Western Balkans. So to conclude, I would like to say that, however, initially I wanted to have an Erasmus Mundus degree before starting postseek, But now I can say that beyond Erasmus Mundus, POSIG has an added value because it brings together students from the Western Balkans. So now I see POSIG as the best passport that I have ever had and that I will ever have in my future, because now I can travel and I am very welcome in the Western Balkans and in Europe in general. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vilma. I'm very happy that you give this your experience about the POSIG master degree. So other students now can listen to you, can benefit from it. If someone else has to give a hint from the participants.
Thanks everybody for being here. Just, can you hear me?
Diana.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it a lot. And thanks to Franz and Leriana, who is watching us, who are the founders of this network. We hope to continue and to put together this network and the Jean Monnet modules that we already have as University of Tirana. In fact, I had some questions for Elton, but questions that I suppose might interest to all of you. But now he just wrote to me that they have an emergency at the University of Tirana, and he cannot join us right in this moment. We will see if he will join us later. What I wanted to say is that we already have a partner from Belgrade. He also had an emergency board meeting, and he could not be here, but he could join us later in the roundtable, Alexander Pavlovich. And we couldn't reach someone from Pristina and Montenegro. We have contacts from Pristina thanks to Franz's network, but they haven't answered us in any way. Well, we will join a roundtable later after. I just wanted to ask Vilma, since she's here with us and might interest to other students who are watching us also. What are some lacks or some gaps or some things you expected from this regional network and you didn't find? Or I don't know, something that you were expected to have in regard to other students and you couldn't meet up your expectations. I'd like to know them. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Beshko. Actually, as I already mentioned, when initially I heard for POSIG, I thought for sure that I would go for one semester in the Western Balkans. But this was not possible because, as I said, it's for personal choices, and sometimes it is difficult to afford the tuition fees maybe and the living cost in the second year. However, I think that we could come together even closer during the first year. If, for example, in our curricula back in the University of Salzburg, we could have something related to Western Balkans, a subject that touch upon this topic, for example, because we had wonderful courses actually, but they were general courses and sometimes specific courses, but not related to the Western Balkans. So sometimes I feel like we missed or we lacked a platform where we could discuss some pressing issues regarding to the Western Balkans integration in the EU, etc. So maybe we could receive the syllabus for the students who have not the opportunity to follow the second year in another country. For example, I would be very happy to go in Montenegro or in Bosnia-Herzegovina to follow my second year, but this was not possible. So we had personal interaction and sometimes academic interaction with other students, but actually we didn't touch upon the topics that are related to Western Balkans.
Thank you, Vilma. I don't know if Franz would say something or.
Yes, of course. Hello, Wilma. Nice to meet you here again. You know, the basic intention, of course, is to motivate students for spending the second year at the partner university at the Western Balkans. And even if some of my colleagues I see here not happy about that, my advice always is not to go back to the home university, but to go to another university where students also meet colleagues within the master program in Salzburg during the first year. By the way, of course, I understand that there are some difficulties in the way how to manage that regarding the costs. But anyway, basically seen, I would say living costs you have everywhere, you know, and I think the living costs in Sarajevo not so fundamentally different from that in Tirana. So therefore, my intention is to strengthen the motivation of students to go to another Western Balkan country for the second year, and of course to benefit from what their bachelor education at the home country already brought as expertise on the Western Balkan policies to them already, you know, the time before. Of course, we see the role of the first year not as a specialization year for the Western Balkan topics. The basis of our collaboration is to say Salzburg and Ljubljana try to provide let's say European standards in the master teaching to strengthen methodology education and to go more or less to theory methodology guided courses, delivering the basic, as we say, basic text seminars in the different subjects. And to go back to the partner universities on the Western Balkans as the specialists for the Western Balkans. One thing is, and we are planning to intensify that. In fact, it was this year, this spring term, the first time that we had also weekend seminars with all the POSIC students, this POSIC student cohort together, just to intensify their thinking about needs of the region that they might serve with master thesis projects, with contributions to they can bring back to their home countries and back to the Western Balkans, with becoming an expert in political science, integration, and governance. One argument, maybe just to keep in mind that we're really working serious on this approach. And this is the Erasmus Mundus grant project we have applied for, even includes that students from the Western Balkan region getting a Erasmus Mundus grant for 2 years, you know, 25 months grant. So second year is granted in that scheme as well. Are not even allowed to go back to their home country, you know, if they want to keep the grant for that period. Keeping the 24 months grant means that the student from Albania, for example, has to spend the second year in Macedonia, in Bosnia, or in Kosovo, or in Serbia, or in Montenegro. So therefore, we see that point. We see that point very clearly. Academically, our intention was never to become to make Salzburg to a center for Western Balkan research, but as a strong partner for Western Balkan expert institutions in the region. So this is the one thing. The other thing is that the instruments we have by the hand and we get from Brussels finally will change if we get the Erasmus Mundus grant. And in that point, in that element, the Erasmus Mundus grant will even put stress to students not to go home, but to expand their experiences in other neighborhood countries of the Western Balkans. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Franz. Now we can close the first session of this day. The second session is the roundtable, discussing more technically and more in detail the possibilities of future collaboration. And that session will be closed, so it will be just for the lecturers that are here. And so I thank everybody that followed this first part of the activity. Thank you very much, and we can...
One technical detail. We can switch off now and enter again with a link that is already sent to our email, okay?
Okay, thank you very much, Claudia.